Okay, everybody, hello and happy Memorial Day. Although by the time you listen to this, it will not be Memorial Day. So here's hoping that you had a lovely Memorial Day. And in case you forgot, you are listening to the Top 5 podcast, and I'm Chris McPeak. With me, as always, recently, is Annie.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm having a day. I'll say that because Memorial Day is always kind of hard for us in this house.
I
So
get
we
that.
have a lot of band of brothers because we got and we get very misty eyed and remember our fallen. So it's one of those. It's that kind of a day for us in this
Okay.
household. Yeah.
Well, then let me just take this other opportunity to once again thank you and your husband for your service.
Well, thank you, honey.
I appreciate both of you very much.
Thank you. We love you very much.
Aw, darn shucks. Okay. Let's go to our topic, dear
Well,
sister.
one. I like this one, and it is it's kind of reminiscent of a day like today, where I'm not sick, but it's the kind of day. So we're gonna do best sick day movies. Days when you are like feeling so awful that you cannot get out of bed, cannot get off the couch, and if everybody has like experienced COVID, like I had it twice, and so I spent a week on the couch. So I can definitely tell you my sick day movies, like during the times that I had COVID, watch them 3 times each. Yes. So we're gonna do best sick day movies.
Yes. And this was fun to do a Google search on too. There are definitely a couple that are on my list because they were so prevalent on other people's lists. But then there's some that have sentimental value because of the kind of sick day I was having when I was asked to watch it. And thus, now when I reflect on sick day movies, these are, they're there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll go first on this
Okay.
one.
I like it.
So my number 5 is going to be Big from 1988. And I think when I think about movies that are, fun to watch when you're sick, you want to watch something that is either going to like perk your spirits up a little bit or make you laugh. And this movie does both of that because there's moments where you will be laughing hysterically, and there's moments where you get a little sentimental and a little, happy sad.
Yeah.
So that's a great movie because it's got a lovely happy ending. It's a very, very silly look at Tom Hanks in his first Academy Award nomination. Definitely not his first big screen role, but yeah, something that just overall lightens your day and raises your spirits. And you could probably even sit through that a second time if you absolutely had to. But yeah, I turn to you, Tom Hanks, Big, 1988.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
Thanks.
You can tell like a lot of these movies are going to be very sentimental. I mean, I'm not going to be like, I hope I don't offend anybody, like typical chick flicks, but
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, so my number 5, I'm going to go with the 1977 The Goodbye Girl. So Richard Dreyfuss in his Academy Award winning
Yeah.
performance, but this basically it's a love story of like two people that like you never saw coming together.
Right.
And then you throw this child into the mix who's smarter than the two of them combined. But it's a very sweet love story, and it's very charming, and it's like when it just brings you comfort watching people who, and it reminds me of me and Keith, because when we met, we did not like each other at all. And that's what happens with this couple. And it's one of Richard Dreyfuss's like funniest performances because he's just spot on, sweet and adorable, irritating all at the same time. So number 5, The Goodbye Girl, 1977.
I need to see that again. I only saw it once. And the thing that I remember the most from it is I don't want the panties drying on the rod. And
Yes.
probably because that was in the commercial that I recall seeing like a dozen times when I was younger. So I will need to go back and watch that one again.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 4 is from 2001. And this is Saving Silverman. So this movie did not get a lot of positive reviews. It's definitely hokey and silly, but the reason I have this movie on my list is on New Year's Day of, I want to say 2002, maybe 2003, I had what I'm going to call the worst hangover of my life ever. Like the one where you're throwing up liquid for days. Yeah, that's TMI. I'm sorry. But our friend Allison had come over. This was in Chicago, had come over and stayed the night with us and then spent the day with us. And while we were trying to figure out how I was going to figure out a way to make myself feel better, she's the one that said, I think we should rent this movie and let's do it. So we rented the DVD, we watched it. It's a very silly telling of three adult male friends, one of whom starts dating a very pushy, you will change your ways or I will leave you girl. And that's, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget his name, the American Pie kid, Jason Biggs. And the two friends are Jack Black and Steve Zahn. And so they plot this hostile breakup thing. And Neil Diamond is involved, which is, of course, one of my favorite things about this movie is there are Neil Diamond songs everywhere. But it's ridiculous and silly, and you will laugh your ass off. And it's the perfect thing to watch when you are recovering, nursing a very terrible hangover. So anyway. That's why Saving Silverman is on my list at number 4.
Okay. I'm going to break my rules because I said no repeats, but we're getting close to like 50 episodes, and
yeah,
there's going to be some movies or songs that they're going to make more than one list, right?
They're going to pop up every now and then. So yeah, I think that we have reached like occasional repeat scenario.
So here's my first occasional repeat. So number 4, Begin Again, 2013. So Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
And again, it's the music part of it. It's the making of the music while you're watching the film, while they're making the music during the whole thing. But it's the father reconnecting with the daughter. It's the star-crossed lover who becomes jilted. It's the jilted lover story. It's the friendship story. And it just, at the end of it, like the redeeming part is people finding love in the most unusual places. And the great thing about it is Keira Knightley learns to love herself above all else. And that's one of the things I love about it. She never loses her integrity. She never loses her faith in herself. And then she doesn't let this jilted lover, relationship ending destroy her.
Yeah.
So it's a great movie. The music is fantastic. And it just makes me like, if I'm laying on the couch and I just feel God awful, this movie it's one of those that just makes me feel okay.
I would echo that sentiment a million times over. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
That movie may come up again for me on a different show, but I'm not going to spoil that now. So we will wait for that show to come up. Okay. So my number 3, and I forget what year this came out, I might have to look it up, is Notting Hill with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. This is probably my favorite Hugh Grant movie, and it is probably also my favorite Julia Roberts movie. It's a very different look at her, and it's, because she's been America's sweetheart, all through the late 80s and early 90s, but in this movie, she's initially not very likable at all. In fact, she's kind of a bitch. Yeah. And you come to love her, and then you come to really not like her, and then you come to really, really love her. And the scene where she goes with him to the family birthday dinner and all these quirky, super British people is so funny, but it's complemented by having, I think his name is Rhys Ifans as the roommate.
Yeah.
Who's just ridiculously silly and awkward in his, wiry. That's from the Replacements, but in his wiry frame, and just you laugh out loud watching this movie, and you also get, very sentimental, cute. It's an adorable love story, the two of them together, and like, Hugh Grant's heart actually breaking in parts, and her realizing that, oh my gosh, I really do love this boy and his floppy haired bookstore business messiness. So it's very charming, and another laugh out loud and until you cry story. So that's where I'm at. Number 3.
And one of my favorite scenes from that movie is when they're going to break into the secret garden, and he's trying to climb the fence, and he does the oopsie daisies. He looks like, did you just say oopsie daisy?
You said whoopsie daisies. You said it again.
Oh, I love it. It's so cute. Yeah, that's a great one.
That line gets repeated in our house often.
Yeah.
You said whoopsie daisies.
He said oopsie daisy. Sorry. Okay. My number three is another Keira Knightley, and it's kind of a tie. So it's Pride and Prejudice. Okay, so you have
Okay.
the 2005 version. The one I prefer is the BBC production from the early 80s, but I don't have, it's not on Netflix or Amazon. It's the 6-part series, and I would prefer to watch the long one because on a sick day, the best
Oh
thing to
yeah.
do is like 8 hours of Pride and Prejudice, right? So because I can't, it's not available to me now, I will not settle for it, because the Keira Knightley version is also very, very good.
True.
But Prejudice, Jane Austen, there's something about like everything that she writes that just kind of feeds the soul. And I love all of the characters. I love the mother in Pride and Prejudice. This poor woman. Oh my God. 6 daughters. I mean, how do you get rid of 6 daughters during that time? So
Right.
the more I grow and learn and become just, I'm on the verge of getting one of my children out of the house, and I can't fathom the life of that woman. But anyway, I digress. Sick day movies, Pride and Prejudice. You can't go wrong with any of the Jane Austen films that have been well done, or even from book to screen. So that's my number 3.
Love it. That is a good one. And sometimes that BBC series does pop up on Amazon. You have to pay attention because you can miss it.
All right.
I have it on my wish list, and so I need to figure out some way to do a notification so when it is available again, I can.
I wish I did that. I'll look, but I don't think they do that.
Just keep on the lookout because it does pop up every now and then.
Do love it.
Okay, I'm going with number 2 is a Mayer family classic, and that is The Sunshine Boys, which I think is 1975. It might be 1974. And if you've listened to the show before, I've talked about this. I talked about this movie with Chris Corral. This was a movie that our dad introduced to us, and we grew up watching on the, big ass Betamax and all of the things with the paused commercials and whatnot. This movie is lovely because it's about 2 older former vaudeville stars who hate each other, but kind of love each other while they hate each other. And it's the nephew is gonna, bring the band back together for this one television movie special, and it proves to be highly contentious, but all the way funny and hilarious. And I was actually thinking, what were we setting up for? We were setting up for this Hall of Fame event on my campus a few weeks ago, and we were setting up these easels on the stage, and every time I would move something, the staging services woman would come over and move my easel again, and I wanted to say wait a minute, we're doing the same gosh darn thing. And I couldn't, there was nobody there that I could share that sentiment with who would appreciate it, because most of the people I work with don't know this movie. But I know if Annie had been there, or if Jenny had been there, or everybody would have wanted. Oh, the doctor sketch, that's what we're saying. So anyway, that movie has resurfaced in my mind again of late because of this recent, event where people were moving things and then people were moving them right back. So anyway, that movie has lots and lots and lots of laughs in it, and sentimentality as well. But it is a classic Walter Matthau vehicle. Neil Simon wrote the play and the screenplay for the film, and Richard Benjamin shows up as the nephew, and George Burns in his Oscar-winning role as
A Beautiful Man.
Yes, Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis and Clark, the Sunshine Boys.
Yes.
There you go. I can't remember his first name now. Willie Clark and Al Lewis.
Yeah. I love it.
Yep.
I love the movie. Yeah. Okay. My number 2 is 2010 Leap Year, Amy Adams and Matthew Good. Pronounce his name, but one of my favorite chick flicks, obviously. It's got one of my all-time favorite movie kisses in it as well. When the first time that they kiss. But what I love about the movie is, and spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you kind of, a little bit of the ending, but it's a love story, and love stories are just awesome when you're sick, because you just they make you feel better.
Yeah.
But I had my 30 seconds came up. So if your house is on fire and you have 30 seconds to get whatever you need, what do you grab?
Mhm.
And she's explained, and my 30 seconds came up, and I realized that what I need is here. And that's just like this beautiful, it's like there's heartwarming, and it's like people, she was able to recognize this, release of material things and status, and what she needed was love and good food and community and adventure, which I don't know, it's just everything about it. I love it. It's one of my favorite love stories. It's one of my favorite movie kisses, and it makes me feel better when I watch it. So I can watch it like on loop. Like I can like just
Oh
put it
yeah.
on and watch it over and over and over again. So leap year 2010. Number two.
Nice. It's
Yes.
been a while since I've seen that movie. I saw it in the theater for sure. Yeah, I really obviously I love Amy Adams, but I also really like Matthew Good
Oh
or
yeah.
Goody, whatever it is. Like he's done a wealth of things,
Mhm.
really unique. Like he was in The Lookout where he plays a bad guy with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then he played an attorney on The Good Wife that I'd completely forgotten about because
Yeah.
he shows up in the series when they kill Will Gardner, which was one of the roughest
Yeah.
television scenes I've ever had to
Well, and then he's
deal with.
in Down Abbey
Mhm.
and The Imitation Game, and every time I see him, I'm like, oh, you hot motherfucker.
He
Um,
is. Oh my Lord, he is a tall drink of water.
yeah.
Yes. Ooh. Fanning
Okay.
myself.
Do
Okay,
you have an honorable mention?
I do have an honorable mention, and this didn't like ring right away for me because I don't know. I've never watched this movie on a sick day that I can think of, but it was on a bunch of people's lists. And then when I asked Charles, like, what's a movie you would want to watch on a sick day? And he said Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So I went with this because it's actually a movie in which a person is playing sick so that he can go out and have an adventure with his friends, or more importantly, create an adventure experience for his friends. Here's a person who has really, truly come to fully understand what it means to embrace like the fun in life and to
Mm.
make sure that we all know how to take advantage of it. And darn it, if he had to take a sick day to make it work, then whatever. But he's clever. He can outsmart, the grown-ups. And in the end, it all works out well for everybody. So who cares that a car got destroyed? I don't know. It's fun. It is, quintessential Matthew Broderick vehicle and a quintessential John Hughes vehicle. So yeah, that makes my honorable mention list for this
I
movie.
I love it. I love that movie. Well, that's funny because my honorable mention is also classic 80s. It's going to be The Breakfast Club. Uh,
Ah,
and it's one of those like both Ferris Bueller and The Breakfast Club could pretty much quote it from start to finish. So it feels like I'm not watching a movie. It's like I'm listening to a song because I can sing along.
yeah.
But I love it because also like I can fall asleep when I'm feeling like super duper sick and then wake up and then just like and not like feel like I missed anything, and then I'll just start it over again. But I do love me some Judd Nelson. I do love
Mhm.
me some John Bender, if you will.
Yeah.
And I love that like that movie. I think we've talked about it. I think this is a repeat for me. My kids like it like there's so many themes in that movie that transcend generations
Yes.
that my kids can connect with, 30 years after the fact, 40 years, however many years. Anyway, yeah, Breakfast Club is my HM.
Which is why if any stupid modern day director tries to remake it, that person's going to find themselves in the crypt because I know I personally will seek them out
I'll
and destroy them.
I'll protest. Yep.
I will, yeah, find myself in a jail cell and he or she will find themselves in a crypt. Okay.
Yep.
My number one might seem a little strange, but it's again because of a sick day that I came to watch this movie in the first place. And this is the 1939 classic of Gone with the Wind.
Ah,
So when I met Charles, my husband, we were on two different planes, with movies. So I was still very much a movie snob cinephile. I mean, I still am, but you and I were going to 2 and 3 movies in a weekend, and we had grown up, learning a lot about film in our household. But this was a movie I'd never seen. So I was home on a sick day, and he was in the apartment with me, and he's like, Gone with the Wind is going to be on TNT. And I'm like, I've never seen that before. And he's like, what? You've never seen Gone with the Wind? And I said, no, I haven't. And so what he did was he set up our living room. We dragged the mattress from the bed out into the living room and he propped it
Oh,
up, all these pillows and blankets. And we had a little side table with, my orange juice and my warm 7-Up and some Jello pudding and whatnot. And so on TNT, this is a, running time of about 6 hours because you have to factor in commercials and the like. But
mhm.
that was my first experience viewing Gone with the Wind. And, I was completely taken with it. And it's a total Hollywood classic. Like everything about it is classic. And yeah, so since then it's been a movie that it is one of those movies I've seen so many times, like you were acknowledging before. You can kind of nod off and fall asleep and wake up back up and you haven't missed anything. That's the
Yeah.
way I am with Gone with the Wind now. I wasn't in that early day, and it must have been 1994, late
Oh,
in
wow.
so we were not married very long, still pretty early in our relationship, but that was a really special, super special sick day, if you can call sick day special. But anyway, that's my number one, is Gone with the Wind.
All right. I love it. All right. So I was going to go with a tie for number one, but I'm going to actually commit and say I will watch this one more than the other. So my number one is, and I've used it on another list. So again, I'm breaking my own rules, but The Great Escape from 1963.
Yes.
Steve McQueen just makes you feel better. I don't care who you are. But it's a childhood, when we were growing up, and if we had a sick day, we were limited to our options, our viewing options. It was whatever we had dubbed on our VHS or beta tapes.
Right.
And The Great Escape got you through 3 hours of sickness, right? So you
Totally
could put it
true.
right out, get a good 3 hours of feeling bad. But it's, to this day, I don't, if it comes on the television, the Pruitt House rule is it has to stay on.
Yeah.
And then we have movies like that, Jaws is one of those, Shawshank Redemption, etc. But The Great Escape, I can watch it over and over again. And I finally learned to not talk along with the dialogue, so my husband doesn't go absolutely batshit crazy. But it's so hard because I love it so much.
Mhm.
So great one to throw on, because again, I can lay down and I can enjoy kind of this amazing cast and this amazing story based on the true story. And then if I do fall asleep and I wake up, I don't feel like I'm lost because I've seen it so many times. So yeah, that's my number one, The Great Escape from 1963.
Oh, that's a great one. And I am exactly like you. I have ruined so many movies for my husband and my friends because I can't get through it without, quoting along. And this is one of those movies. There's probably 20 of them in total, and we probably have overlap for a lot of them. You just turn the volume down and we can do all the dialogue.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
for sure. Okay. Well, Annie, give us your recap, if you will.
All right, recap. Honorable mention, The Breakfast Club. So number 5, Goodbye Girl. 4, Begin Again. 3, Pride and Prejudice, either the 2005 or the BBC version from the early 80s. And number 2, Leap Year. And number 1, Steve McQueen, James Garner, Charles Bronson. The list goes on. 1963, The Great Escape.
Spot on. Well, my honorable mention is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And then 5 to 1 is Big, Saving Silverman, Notting Hill, The Sunshine Boys, and Gone with the Wind. So the next time you're sick, you can enjoy one of these or more of them. Share with your family members and your friends. And we can't make a playlist out of this, but we could do an IMDb list of sick day movies. Maybe that's something we do later. Yeah. Okay. Well, Annie, great list. Good job.
Yes. Thank you. Same to you.
And of course, that we would love to get some feedback on our amazing shows that we do, because we think they're pretty awesome, but we would like to know what our listeners think. So you can shoot us an email anytime you want at hello@thetop5podcast.com. But until then, she's Annie, I'm Chris, and of course, you've been listening to the Top 5 Podcast. So we'll catch up with you later.